So today I want to talk about a topic that I honestly believe it is going to be a game changer for so many people. It's becoming more and more popular in different circles. I've been hearing it in different podcasts, books. Honestly, it's been around for generations. And honestly, I truly believe that it is one of the hidden secrets that's keeping so many people from really maximizing their life. So today I want to talk about gifts. Despite what you believe, we all have gifts. We all have different gifts. We all have different unique abilities. And I want to be able to break that down for us to see how we can really use these gifts to maximize our life. Now, what I want to say is this concept of gifts, a lot of people get tripped up on it. The focus may be, well, how do I find it? That's a big one. And honestly, it's critical in this whole process. How do I find it? How do I find it? And then after I found it, how can I leverage it? How can it really maximize my life? And honestly, in my opinion, those are end of the line questions. In the context of, let's say, that the alphabet, those are XYZ questions. Those are XYZ concept questions, frameworks. But honestly, we need to get to the basics. We need to really look at the basics, the ABCs of gifts. So honestly, we're going to do a couple of videos around this topic because I truly believe that this is literally going to be a game changer. For myself, when I really took some time to say, okay, what are my gifts? What are things that separate me from the pack? And how can I leverage those things to maximize my life? When I really took some time to find that out, it was a game changer and it changed the game from my life personally. But to my point, a lot of people get tripped up with the basics. So what do I mean by basics? Honestly, just the concept of gifts in itself, it has some spiritual connotations to it. What do I mean by that? If you truly honestly believe that you have a gift, that you were designed and made with a purpose, one of the first things that people get tripped up on is that they were uniquely made, that they were designed. For some people, they get tripped up because they feel, well, I'm just here on accident. I just showed up. Right, this Big Bang happened and I'm just here and there's no uniqueness to me. I'm just here. My parents got together off an accident, or they didn't plan for me to be here, and I'm just here. So for a lot of people, they get tripped up with just this idea or this concept that I'm here for a purpose, that I have unique gifts, skills, abilities that sets me apart from everyone else, and that I was uniquely designed. Another thing that trips people up, even if they get to the point of, okay, I'm uniquely designed. I was uniquely made. I'm following you. I'm following you so far. The next step is, well, who designed me, right? Who made me? So there's some few elements, and honestly, that's a whole other video. I know there's a lot of people out there with a lot of different beliefs. Once again, if you don't necessarily have the right framework to this gift concept, if you don't have the right framework for just the basics of gifts, that's where you can kind of see where people get tripped up and they get lost in the process, and then they trying to figure out, well, where does my gifts and how can I leverage it? And they don't necessarily have a full picture around it. So I honestly believe that we all were made with a gift. We all were uniquely designed. I truly and honestly believe that I'm uniquely and wonderfully made in the image of God. With that framework, I'm able to now build, and I have context that I can start fleshing this idea out. But I want to just, once again, before we even get to the end of the line questions, I wanted to kind of stick to those basics, stick to the beginning process and what gifts are all about. So one thing I love to do in these type of settings, sometimes I'll say something like love or success or gifts, and a lot of people have different definitions. They'll have an idea, a different idea. When I say gifts, they're thinking something completely different. So I want to have a universal term or a universal definition when it comes to gifts. When I say gifts, I want us all to kind of be on the same page. Gifts, honestly, is just a unique or divine capacity. A divine capacity, a unique ability. It's outside of the norm. So when I say gift, meaning this is something that is really outside of the norm. I've heard it defined this way: something that you do easy, that's difficult for most people. It's like a unique capacity. You can do this area or you can do this skill just a little bit better than everyone else. So when I say gift, it's a divine capacity. So I want to take a look at something because I'm big on pictures. I'm big on analogies, and I feel like the more we can start to look at this idea, in different styles or with different frameworks, it'll start to click and come together. So when I say a divine capacity, one of the first things that came to mind was, all right, when we think of capacity, it's something that can hold a substance or something that can store something, right? So honestly, a cup, right? So look at your boy, getting better at drawing. Look at this. So let's just say this cup, this is an 8-ounce cup, right? It can hold 8 ounces of water, right? Now, another cup, same substance, or same substance that's inside, but the cup itself, it has a greater capacity to hold more. So let's just say this is a 12-ounce cup, right? I hope you guys are following me. So we have 2 cups. We have one that can hold 8 ounces of water, for example. We have another that can hold 12 ounces of water. It's the same substance. We're going to get into the different types of cups or the different usages. But what I want to highlight is just for this cup, it has 8 ounces. Great. This cup has the capacity to just hold a little bit more, right? So let's just say in the context, if we want to label this cup, let's just say in the context of leadership, right? Everybody tells me I have chicken scratch, but actually, nah, let me do that again. Let me do that again to avoid the chicken scratch so you guys can follow along with me. Leader. Come on. There we go. Leadership. So let's just say in the context of leadership, we can use a lot of different examples, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit. I know leadership is a popular one, so I'll just stay in the same vein of leadership. Somebody has the capacity to lead. They're given as much as they can. They're doing as best as they can in the context of leadership. They can hold 8 ounces. That's as much as they can hold. That's as much as they can carry. For whatever reason, they're stretched beyond measure at that 8 ounces. Somebody else, they just have a divine capacity to hold a little bit more. They have a unique ability to manage, to leverage, to lead a little bit more, a little bit greater. There's nothing against this individual. We all been given different unique abilities. Now, what I'm going to get to is, let's just say this cup is designed a little bit differently than that cup. And that's where a lot of people get tripped up. They'll look at somebody else and go, man, this person could just do a little bit more. What about me? There's unique designs and there's unique abilities that, let's say, this cup can do that the other cup can't do. And I'm going to get into more examples about that later, but I'm just talking about in the context of gifts. This is why this is a hidden secret that a lot of people just lose sight of, or they don't necessarily get the full picture and they don't literally see how it can change their life. So now this individual, once again, they have the capacity to hold or lead a little bit more, but for whatever reason, they're not necessarily doing it to that level. Now, I want to go ahead and erase that. So let's just do those 2 cups again, right? Except I'm going to design them a little bit differently. Let's just say this cup, it's full. It's at its max, right? Let's just say the same 8 ounces, right? Now, this cup, I'm going to design it just a little bit differently, right? On the surface, it may not look bigger, but I'm going to offer a little bit more unique designing to it. So not only does that cup have no handles, this cup has some handles. This cup on both sides, it can hold water in different places. Let's just say there's a secret compartment at the bottom that can hold more. So let's just say this cup, it's at its max capacity, it can hold 8 ounces. This cup, designed a little bit differently, can now hold 10 ounces. And on the surface, people are like, well, this cup, I know you probably can't see it, I should have drawn it a little bit differently, but this cup, on the surface, it looks a little bit bigger. It looks like it could hold more, but it's really at its capacity at 8 ounces. This cup, it may look a little bit smaller on the surface, but it was designed a little bit differently than this cup as well. And since it was designed a little bit differently, it could hold and store water in different places. Once again, I'm just trying to drive home this idea that people who have gifts, they have a unique capacity to hold things, to manage things. They have a unique ability to carry things a little bit differently than somebody else. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let's say, oh, I didn't want to do all that. Let's just say this is what most individuals' lives look like. They'll look at other individuals and they'll go, man, I really look at them and I really idolize their 8-ounce cup. I really look at them and I see what they're doing, and they're doing it at the max capacity, and they're looking at their lives. They have the capacity to hold more. They were built a little bit differently, but they're only leveraging their gift to a certain amount. They're not necessarily leveraging those other areas that they were designed to carry more. They were designed to do more, but they're only doing it looking at the other individual, and that's why it's called fulfilled. That's why it's called fulfilled. They're not feeling filled in life. It's because they're not leveraging the extra capacities that they can use their gifts and operate their gifts in. And that's why, honestly, really, I'm a big words person. A lot of times we say words and we really don't look at the words for what it is. That's why it's called fulfilled. They're not filled to the full in every area of their lives. There's so many other areas that they could be using their gifts in, but they're only using it, let's say, on their job. Or maybe they're using it on Sunday at church. Or maybe they're at work 40 hours a week, not using their gifts. They're at home, busy with family, with kids, with parenting, with the spouse, and they're not using their gifts to the fullest potential. They're not using their gifts at all in any other capacity. And they're like, why do I feel so unfulfilled? Why do I feel so frustrated? Why do I feel like I can hold so much more? I can do so much more, but I don't know what to do. And I honestly believe this is why so many people aren't necessarily maximizing their life. It's because they're not tapping in to those that untapped potential. They're not tapping in to those areas where they can literally be fulfilled in life. Once again, I'm big on examples. So we use the word leadership before. A gift, honestly, believe it or not, there's a gift of administration. And what I'll do for a lot of people, I'm going to go ahead and include in the description a link that shows a document of all the gifts that are out there, all the defined gifts. There's a gift of administration. There's the gift of knowledge, meaning an individual can literally contain and read, and they have like this unending thirst for knowledge, and they could just contain and soak in so much knowledge than the average person. There's the gift of teaching. There's the gift of leadership. Like, there's so many different gifts that are out there, and for a lot of people, they don't necessarily understand that the area that they thrive in, that's a gift. It's like a light bulb moment when I show it to people and they go, oh man, I never saw it in black and white. So I'm going to go ahead and include that in the description. But we said leadership earlier. Let's look at administration, right? You may look at an individual that feels fulfilled because they're utilizing their gift of administration to its max, and they feel so fulfilled in life. But once again, they were designed to hold, let's say, 8 ounces of water, for example. But this individual, they're only using that gift of administration in one area. Let's say they're only doing it on their job. They're only doing it on their job, or let's just say, maybe I'll take it back. Another example, I know an individual that they have the gift of administration. They serve at their church, and this is really where they're utilizing the gift the most. So I have an individual, once again, this cup can hold, let's say, 10 ounces, right, of that gift to be used in its fullness. But with them only using it, let's say at a church, or let's say in a nonprofit that they volunteer in, let's say the capacity is only, let's say, 3 ounces, so to speak. 3 ounces that they're actually using their gift in a weekly or monthly basis. That individual feels so unfulfilled because they're looking at their day-to-day and they're not using their gift. When they look at things that are completely unstructured, completely unorganized, let's say they don't sit in a level of leadership at their company or at their job, so they're not necessarily able to leverage putting processes together and operating procedures, and they find themselves so frustrated on the job that they're only really using that gift, let's say at home or at church or at some kind of volunteering event or volunteering capacity, and they find themselves so frustrated. The individual that I'm thinking of, that's literally their story. They sit in maybe a low level in their company, so they're not able to, they brought it to their manager several different times. Hey, I really think we should implement this. I really think if we do this, it'll create more structure for the organization, more structure for the team. They got shut down. So now they find themselves frustrated at job, frustrated in their job, in their day-to-day, a place that they spend most of their time. Their home is completely organized. They just did their taxes not too long ago, and they literally did it with a breeze. Meanwhile, I know so many other different people that are completely unstructured, unorganized. They would absolutely love this individual's gift to be utilized, which I'm gonna get to soon. But if they can find other areas, other arenas, other spaces to use their gift to add value to other people, to other spaces. If your job isn't necessarily taking, understanding the value that you bring to the table with your gift, in my opinion, you should probably transition to a place that will accept and honor and appreciate your gift. Your gift will make room for you. But so many people, once again, I know we're focusing on, I know I brought up leadership or administration. What I'm getting at is depending on what your gift is, if you start to leverage it and you start to understand, this is why I feel so unfulfilled in my life. This is why I feel, man, I could do so much more. I don't know about you, but I got to a point in my life where I really looked at myself and I'm like, all right, I'm doing okay on my job. I'm doing okay in my day-to-day. You know what? I'm doing okay at home as a husband, and things are okay, but it's not really moving the needle. And I really did this, I self-assessed, and I said, you know what? I'm not utilizing my gift. And anytime I feel frustrated with my work, feel frustrated at home, I always go to this now. I go, how much am I using my gift to help curb these problems? Anytime I feel unfulfilled or unfruitful, I always look at, have I really been using my gift this past week? Or I say, how much have I used my gift this past month? How much am I using my gift? Because once again, a gift, I've heard it said this way, your gift, once again, is what comes easy to you that's difficult to most. So if you find yourself frustrated, you find yourself doing things now, here's what I will say. Gifts there are certain skills that can be learned. There are certain abilities and skills that can be learned. We can look at LeBron James. God-given talent, right? There's some things that I can learn to do. I can learn the game of basketball. I can learn to shoot. I can learn to dribble. There's certain skills that I can learn. There's certain things that I can learn. But at the same time, there's some God-given talents that I can't learn to be LeBron James. I can't learn to be 6'8", whatever pounds, faster than like with a freight train going from court to court, basket to basket, dunking. There's certain things that I just can't do no matter how much I try. So I think where a lot of people, once again, they get tripped up on the basics before they really try to go down the end of the line and go, well, I want to leverage this. And I see what this person's doing and I want to learn that. There's certain skills and there's certain talents that we could learn, but at the same time, that unique capacity, there's a unique capacity that some people were given that other people weren't. Now, imagine LeBron James, 6'8", however many pounds, imagine him operating in an administrative gift, sitting at an office Monday through Friday. He could probably be successful. He could work hard at that. He could probably work his way up to CEO. That's awesome. But at the same time, there's going to be maybe a level of unfulfillment where he may go, you know what? I'm not using my God-given gifts and abilities and talents to its full potential. There's how many individuals do we know, possibly including ourselves, but it's easier to see it in others than ourselves. So let's just be honest. There's a couple of people that we could look at and we could go, man, you have no idea. You ever looked at somebody? There's a true story. There's a person that I know. He's hilarious. When I say hilarious, he is hilarious. He's funnier than any comedian. Probably Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle sits at the top of my list. But once again, prime example. Dave Chappelle honed his craft. He honed his craft of comedy. He honed his gift, and therefore he's now considered to be one of the GOATs. But this individual, he is literally hilarious. He has a gift of comedy. He has a gift to take harsh situations, things that aren't necessarily funny, harsh life moments, but he's able to just, the way he does it, he's able to just put a spin on it relatively quickly and just change the whole atmosphere of the room. And when I look at him, I'm like, dude, you have no idea. You have no idea the power of your gift. And what I want to do is the same thing that I share with him is I want to share it with you guys. If you can literally maximize your gift, if you could literally break it down, first discover it, then after you discover it, have the proper framework and say, okay, how can this add value to others? How can this change the atmosphere, maybe the atmosphere at work, maybe the atmosphere at home, maybe the atmosphere in your family. If you hone your gift, it will literally maximize and change your life. Well, as always, I ask for 3 things. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and click the like button, as well as if you think it could help add value to somebody else, go ahead and share it. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe and join the tribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.